In a vast landscape full of adventurers, you are now listening to the world of chaotic amateurs.
Welcome to Chaotic Amateurs, the internet's #1 D&D 5e play podcast. I'm your host and DM. With me today, I have
Bentley Michaels as Riferian Night Meadow.
And today we are going to get into the final epilogue for the characters of the Wolf Pack. Let the adventure begin. And now, the story of Rif. So Rif came to Usama from the monastery to the south on a separate continent, a new land here in Usama, to track down some information they had about their uncle in a journal and notes that was leading them to the wastes. Upon arriving here, found a group of adventurers that they connected with and bonded with, and was able to seek out new knowledge of this place, uncover some new facts, new research of what the wastes was, and was part of, in a big way, finding out some of the secrets that had long been lost in the desert of the wastes. We're now months into the contract that had come between the Chateau de Magnus and the nobles of Usama to protect them after the treaty broke from the denizens of the wilds, vampires, werewolves, dragons. And things have become stagnant at the chateau. Adventure research is not on the horizon for the people of the chateau. Most of the wolf pack have gone their separate ways. Rif, you begin to pack up things, ready to go off on your own.
My rooftop closet.
Your rooftop closet, getting all the things you need ready. Speaking with the Academy Veritas and the dwarf there, Glazo, you mentioned this to me. You wanted to keep your research that you had a bit more secret, and so I think what's happened is you've worked with Strix in the library. He's found some texts about different ciphers, about different ways to encode messages, and the two of you have worked together to create your own cipher to basically a shorthand for all your notes.
That's
to keep everything, safe from prying eyes. Even if anyone finds the notes that you have, they're not going to be able to decode it unless they know what's in your head.
Shadow
or
language.
Strix's head. Shadow language. Is that what you call it? It's a shadow language?
That's what Rif would call it. She's like, making a shadow language with Strix. Here we go.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. What's the neat thing about this cipher for you? You can have it a bit magical, like is it something that can only be seen under certain conditions? Do you have to view it or like transcribe it a certain way? What's Rif's flavor to this cipher?
Yeah, I would say that it's like Druid, how you can only Druids can see the Druid writing stuff or whatever, you can leave messages, but she has something like that where, I don't know, maybe it's part of a researcher ability or something like that. So I would say that it's a couple part cipher in which you have to have the key. So if you were to be able to see it, it kind of like it would just look like gibberish anyway. But I would say you have to there's only 2 times a day that you can read her stuff, and that's like at the classic twilight era of the, you know, that perfect time around 5-6 o'clock when the sun is just setting or whatever. Like it's the magic hour is what they call it in filmmaking, I believe. And then it's like the sort of magic hour in the morning, like right as the sun crests. You've got about 20 or so minutes, you know, before it gets to be too bright. And then about that last 30 minutes or so before it sets, where it's just like, it's that weird sort of intermittent. It's kind of like what the monastery that she's from does, like where it kind of like you see it, but then it disappears, you know, and you know, so it's like, the best sort of movie way to equate it is that sort of like whenever they shoot like over the horizon of like in The Mummy or something, it's like you sort of just see this wavy thing and it just kind of like you don't know what it is, and then all of a sudden something comes into focus. You're like, oh, okay, start the clock. We got 20 minutes before this thing disappears. But also this is gibberish. So like,
because otherwise it just looks like it's just text on top of text on top of text, and so
very Matrixy.
With Strix's knowledge, you know, he's kind of been in this library learning a bit, and he's taken his druid craft, his ability to read and write, and taught you some basics of it to incorporate that into the writing.
That's awesome.
And so it looks like all this text on top of each other, but it's like these intersections of those different texts that you find the actual writing. So it's not like you have to get rid of, you know, if there's 3 things written on top of each other, you don't have to get rid of 2. You have to see where those 3 interact, and that's where you start seeing the text.
It's one of those. So, it's unlike. I learned how to make one of those stupid mall posters where you stare at it and you see the.
There
image.
you go. It's a magic eye. You got to crush your eyes and then you can see it.
Yeah. So that's the cipher. You got to crush your eyes and look like an idiot.
During Dusk and Dawn, it becomes much more visible. But I think with practice, you and probably Strix can read it as is most of the time with a bit of effort.
Yeah.
Strix kind of helps you get that sorted. What else are you needing to grab from the chateau as you make your way?
I don't really need anything. Like, I mean, I'll ask, you know, Willem, you know, for some provisions, some long-term sort of provisions that'll store nicely.
Oh yeah.
I'll ask Strix if there's like any cool books about Shadow Monk stuff, or like, you know, anything in the library that they, you know, I promise that I'll bring it back. I don't know when, but I promise I'll bring it back. But, you know, just a couple of books that I would find interesting. Maybe there's like some autobiography of some dude that was like a shadow monk or something, you know, just some weird thing that some rich guy's collected in his mansion, you know, but like some monk stuff, or maybe there's like some sort of, you know, nunchuck form book in there that, you know, it's like some, you know, crazy ancient text or whatever, you know, and just some reading materials I can stick in my bag, and I promise that I'll, you know, have them sort of like maybe copied and translated at my monastery, and then it's like I can ship them back to him, you know, once I get there or something like that. And then
Strix has collected a few books. He's actually purchasing books from with the help of Willem through Usama and the merchants there. A couple of books that are, you know, written by people from Usama that describe, you know, in part some of the different schools that are out in Haven. One of them being like you when you end up reading this, you realize that it's about the Shadow Monastery. They kind of hint at, you know, these ideas of what it is, their travels there and what they found. And you know, just it's books about people that have traveled out into the world and come back and written down. So he's gonna found these and got them for you.
Cool. And then the only other thing that I would do is I would feed my Kenku pals on the roof for a final time, and I would like the one that like the big bad bird was like picking on, like, and that I was taking food to and stuff like that back in like season 4. So I don't know specifically. I mean, you ended up helping all the right. Kenku. These are the 2 Kenku that died while in that fight with Chamali.
or Chamala, that have yet to return to some sort of Kenku form. They're twisted in a similar way to the way Zephyrus Arthur was in this kind of abyssal Kenku form. So they don't speak much, but they have a purpose here. And yeah, no, I think both of them you've developed a connection with and have helped.
I would offer to them, if they wanted to come with me to my monastery, and maybe someone there, might be knowledgeable enough to help them out of this state that they're in. Or if not, maybe I'll see them again someday if I come back to the chateau or the surrounding forests and that sort of stuff.
I think that one of them does come with you. The other one stays to kind of help protect the chateau as kind of that's their duty. But one of them does. The one that you were helping, kind of feeding along the way. They stick with you. In the cities and stuff, they hang back. They stay in the trees and the shadows, but you always meet back up with them when you journey forward.
Cool. Yeah, and Riff, honestly, like, she'd probably travel more at night anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And just because the shadows are more abundant then, so it's like she can always pop in and out of using that shadow walk thing. That's definitely something that, like, she, as it's like such a new power and ability to her, she really starts to play with it, and because she's super into the vampire thing, and like she knows that those guys can just like come in and out kind of like at will. She wants to be able to kind of like learn how to travel long distances where it's like she can hop in. It's not just a 60-foot radius. It's like she could, as long as there's sort of shadows, she's just kind of like, it's almost like the Predator, like when he's in camo mode. It's like if you're not looking, you won't see him, but if like you look and you sort of see the distortion of like where he's moving in the trees type of thing, and like it's kind of like if you're watching the shadows, you're like, wait, did that shadow just move? That is the stupidest sentence I've ever said. Did that shadow just move? But you would be right. The shadow did move because there's a little girl with nunchucks walking just.
I think during your travels here soon, you end up teaching that ability to the Kenku. And they, to some limited aspect there, they've got this connection to this dark abyssal plane, and so they can kind of hone in on that as well, using kind of this shadow plane to move. So yeah, as you guys travel, tending to move at night, it's just silently, you make as much sound as an owl does as they fly through the forest.
Yeah, and I would have, before I left the town, I definitely would have gone to that guard station and demanded to see Sanj, because like I'd wrapped his nunchucks up. I finished his chucks for him.
The chucks finished. Yeah. You head into Turlin. Speak with the guards. At this point, the guards know of the chateau. They know of your relationship with Sanj, and you're able to walk right into the castle to meet with Sanj.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I
got some credibility now.
That's awesome. Did Sanj ever get his own flying carpet?
You walk into Sanj's room. He's got a carpet, but not his own. It doesn't fly. He's purchased a number of carpets from some exotic locations, hoping that one of them will fly. None of them have yet. So you see him just kind of like playing on a couple of stacked carpets.
I'm just going to sort of hide in the shadows and like watch him play Aladdin for a little bit before I pop out and be like, "What are you doing, bud?"
Hey, what's going on? Riff, hey, I didn't see you there.
Reliving the adventure, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. None of these carpets have really done they don't act like Arthur's. One.
He's got a cool carpet for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty dang cool. If once I get one though, then we can fly all around the city wherever we want. We can go wherever we want.
Well, that sounds cool, but I got some news to tell you, bud. And she's gonna sort of tap her backpack, and it's gonna like crawl around to the front of her. She's gonna open it up, and she's gonna take out. She's wrapped it in just like brown paper and twine or whatever.
Sure.
And it's just sort of like this, looks like a rectangle, and she hands it to Sanj. She's like, "I finished them." And then she taps the backpack and it crawls to her back again and shuts.
These are the chucks. The chucks? The chuck just like yours?
Well, they're different, but
well, right. I mean, everyone's chuck should be unique to them, right?
yeah, I made them. I made them out of the wood from that tree that I first saw you by down at the little the water or the river or the I don't know.
It's
whatever
just like it's just a little creek.
Yeah, a little creek. Yeah, like when you were down there, like talking to the birds and all that sort of stuff. That tree that you were near, I went and grabbed a bunch of some good-looking wood and carved it up all nice. And there might be a little magic involved in there to make sure that they, you got a little +1 to some hitting action. So be careful. They will hurt, and that +1 applies to you while you're practicing. So if you hit yourself, it's really gonna hurt.
He just rips into the paper and tears them out and just has these, like dark wood chucks. Are they regular chucks or do they have anything on the ends kind of like yours do? Or they, I would have standard
kind of, I would have made a smaller version of what my second pair were, which is like, the knots on the end of them, just so there's like a golf ball size one. Whereas mine, like I would have, they're, to me, they always sort of spoke of like two huge knots in the tree that I just couldn't get around, but for whatever reason, that was the piece of wood that I had to use. So it's like they're fatty little things.
So these ones you found like these burls and kind of carved from there, so they have that extra force at the end of them.
Yeah, and then
cool.
I hand him a little piece of parchment with where I've crudely drawn like sort of form stuff or whatever, like body poses or whatever. And I go through them real quick. And I go, so this is what it's kind of showing you here. And those are the basics. You get those down, though. And with these things, no one's going to expect anything. Like, you just pull them, keep them in your back, have them on your side so you can pull them out. Boom, quick draw, bang. And
he just kind of whips them out and just kind of, they fly and they hit him on the side of the arm. It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, that does.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
So imagine if you get good at him. And then you beat up an attacker. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, you'll get it. It's just practice. And the second part is I'm taking off. I got some business to attend to. There's some things have slowed down at the chateau and boring. So boring. So I got some
big houses can be boring. That's why I always go outside.
Yeah. Yeah. So I gotta there's some jokers that have been copping my research, and I'm interested in that. And then I got to go back to the monastery where I'm from, check in. It's been over a year, kind of like touch base, let them know, and, check in with my teachers, that sort of thing. But next time through, I'd be happy to drop by and say hello. Or if you're ever down south where the Monastery of the Silver Song is, feel free to drop my name and tell them you're my pal and just, I wouldn't pull the chucks on them. Just maybe show them the chucks. Be like, she made me these. They'll know.
Okay, I can do that. I mean, we travel sometimes. I could probably head down there.
Hey, and if you get that carpet,
if I get the carpet, then I'll go anywhere.
Yeah, bring it on by. I would love to show the monastery that carpet.
Do you think that if you're riding on a carpet, you could like use the chucks to hit somebody as you pass by them?
100%, especially if you're doing like the low fly.
Yeah.
You just look like a little kid, just like barely off the ground, and then you're like, out of my way, and then you hit him right in the old back of the knee or something. Yeah, that's a great move, Sanjay. And I got to tell you, these chucks, especially at our size, the greatest thing is the knee attack or the groin.
Well,
that hurts, but like the knees. You take someone's knees out, they can't stand, and that's just science.
Yeah, if their knees aren't working, how can they run after you if you run away?
Or you fly away.
Or you fly away.
They can't chase you.
Okay, so if you're going to be out and about, if you see a flying carpet, let me know. Here, hold on. And he sticks the chucks in his kind of like pants on the side, so he's got them available. Goes to some like he's got shelves and drawers and all just all kinds of stuff here in this kid's room. And he pulls out like a just a small jeweled chest like that's for holding trinkets and stuff. Kind of opens it up and grabs a few things and gives them to you, and it's 10 platinum coin.
Whoa.
Here, if you find a magic carpet, you buy it for me and bring it back.
Okay.
And then we'll fly wherever you want to go.
All right. She'll tap her bag again and put it in one of the compartments.
That's a cool bag.
It's even cooler because now, and you can't touch this part, you got anything in here that you don't want? Like
there's
something,
a few things, like some of the toys I don't play with anymore.
just like something small. Doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Okay. He picks up like a little wooden toy soldier.
Okay. Watch this part. And she's going to sort of open the part that they turned into the bag of devouring.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, watch this. This is like my neatest trick. And then she just like throws it in there. And it just like, you describe how it looked because I don't necessarily know, but like if it just, when she moves
you find the pouch that's the bag of devouring and kind of open it up, and it's, it's kind of got a bit of a shadow to it that it shouldn't. There's like candlelight and light coming through the windows, and you toss it in and you just hear this sound as it is gone. And like you kind of open it up to show him, and he just looks in. It's like, where'd it go? And he like reaches in to
no, don't do that.
It's fine to reach in. You can, as long as the entirety of yourself doesn't go in, you're fine.
Okay.
But he gets his hand in there, but
Rif's still going to say that because she doesn't quite know how it works.
Right.
And she's like, and the last thing she needs to do is have a royal go missing.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, what? Where'd it go?
It's a portal to another dimension. It's like it just disappears and it never comes back. And she shuts the bag and then taps in it so it crawls back onto her back.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. Oh.
Yeah, but it's
like it's gone forever?
I guess. I think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's kind of like the negative version of like like one of those magical bags that like are expanded on the inside or whatever.
Yeah. It's like my dad uses one of those.
It's like the reverse version of that. It just disappears into some like big, who knows? I don't know.
Huh.
But I thought it was like a cool thing, kind of like a fail safe that like if I was ever captured or whatever and my bag was taken, I don't know, maybe someone would go through that and then they would disappear and like they give me my bag back or something. I don't know. But it's a pretty neat thing. Also, cool. She's going to like show Sanj her little hip belt like that where she keeps her chucks and like she's like, take note of these. See, I'm sure there's somebody that could craft you something like that. This is pretty neat. It just becomes part of your clothes.
The armorer, he can probably make me something. And my dad's always wanting me to learn how to use weapons and stuff, but
now you got a weapon that you like.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that now. Like, there's a bunch of people that want to teach me how to like hit things. I'll show them how to hit things.
Yeah, and I've worked with some of the people like out at the chateau, so like I mean, if there's still people out there training or whatever, I'm sure they'd be able to show you some stuff. But I mean, your dad's got so far a reach that honestly, like your dad could probably broker you coming to the monastery and like hanging, doing like a study abroad program or something like that. But I will tell you, it's really, really hard. And, it's probably the hardest thing in the world. But it's also really, really rewarding. And, you can take care of yourself and you learn a lot of really, really cool stuff from all sorts of different people. There's like shadows and vampires and all sorts of different cool things that like work there. And I don't know. It's probably one of the most unique things out there, I think.
Cool.
Everybody's welcome. Even spoiled brats like you. And then she kind of like punches him in the arm.
He just punches you back a little bit. Y'all have a little bit of fun. I think
we do the Christmas Story alley scene.
There you go. That's right. Exactly that. I think you spent a bit of time just showing him some basic moves before you head out.
My patented quick draw and strike, and then it's kind of like the nunchuck version of like you see the samurai like where they're sort of like down and then they come out and strike and cut something in half and then put the sword back. Like, it's like my nunchuck version of that.
There you go. Yeah.
And I'm assuming he probably hit himself in the face a couple of times.
A couple of times. He's going to be a little bruised for the next few weeks, but eventually he's going to get the hang of it.
Yeah.
He's got the best teachers money can buy, and even if nunchucks may not be something they're knowledgeable about, they can find some knowledge on it. So, San, gives you a warm goodbye and just tells you to be safe out there.
High fives. And then she's gonna sort of like, she's gonna find a shadow like near the door, and she's gonna slowly start backing up and putting her hands out, and she goes, "Hey Sanj, I'll be right back," and then she just like falls back into the shadows and disappears.
All right. So yeah, you're in Turlin. I think you mentioned you wanted to visit the Academy Veritas one last time.
Yeah, I'm gonna visit the academy, and I would like to, thank the old lady for all that she's done. And
of course. If you have more research, we're hoping to figure out a bit more of the wastes. We know that you spent some time there, and
yeah,
we've got a few missions we're hoping to partake in. If you would like to advise on those, we could pay a hefty price to the chateau.
I think I would have to go solo bolo on those missions, but so payment would come to me, or you can just send it to the Monastery of the Silver Song as a donation.
I see.
Give me a little walking around money just so I can get through some stuff, but then send the rest to the Monastery of the Silver Song. Also, kind of interested in the people that came and took my research, and I kind of want to go have a chat with them, honestly. But
all your findings were sent to the proper channels. It seems the courts in the capital are some very interested parties there. They are wanting to investigate the wastes on their own dime, it seems. If you would like to advise them, as I said, we can make it worth your while.
Yeah, if it's dealing with them and those folks that took the documents, then I would be very interested in dealing with them. And I think I met a dwarf here, Grosco.
Glazo, yes.
Yeah.
He comes in from time to time.
Is he around? Because I thought maybe he might want to get in on this craziness. He seemed like a cool guy that would be into some adventure.
He doesn't bring much to the academy. I don't think anyone would be interested in having him go to the waste. We mainly keep him around for some insights into the Crimson Veil, but it's...
All right, well, if you see him, you can let him know what I'm doing, and if he wants to show up, I'd love to have him on my team. He seems like a cool guy. But, that's just me.
I don't know about pairing the two of you together.
I think we kick a lot of butt.
If you'd like to speak with him, he's just over there.
Oh.
And she kind of points off to the corner, and yeah, you look over there, and Glazo's just doing some research, He's keeping one ear open to the conversation that you're having.
I will give the lady the lady one final thing, which is I made 2 copies of my nunchuck forms, and so I give her the scroll. I was like, I don't know who needs to see this or if anybody ever will, but I kind of like pull out my nunchucks and flourish them, like do a couple things. I was like, that's all in the papers. I don't know if these are kind of a unique thing, so.
Yes, no, you don't have many people that use that weapon. This will go great in the weapons archives.
Cool. Well, if you get
grabs it and looks at it excitedly.
If you get any other stuff about that, or it's like if you, for whatever reason, have like some other person that wields these that comes through, send him Sanj's way and tell him that like I sent him because I got him a pair.
Sanj. Okay.
I made him a pair of these, and he wants to learn how to use them. So tell him that Riff sent him.
Will do. And she writes some notes on the paper about that. Absolutely.
All right, you crazy old lady. High five.
And she kind of shakes your hand.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
All right. Well. Okay. Bye. And then she turns around and just goes over to where the dwarf was, casually not listening to us.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of goes back to the writing that he's doing as you walk over and kind of just acts surprised. Oh, hello there, young Riff.
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Well, I'm getting out of town, man, and I'm gonna go out and there's some folks that the research. I think you were standing here last time when it happened, but the research, going through the academy, doing some contract work, and gonna go talk about the wastes and with a bunch of eggheads up in so rich place or something. I don't know, but I thought based off of our last conversation, if that sort of thing interests you, like you seem like you got some cool skills, and maybe you want to be on Team Riff.
He kind of looks over at the old lady and looks to you, kind of darting his eyes. And he says, yes, maybe. Yeah, let's go take a walk.
All right.
He gathers some of his stuff up, gets his bag all together. He's got this like massive bag he keeps his research in and his books on the sides. Got a couple bags of holding he put some things in, and this like messy desk he was working on with like stacks of books and stuff is nice and clear now. Like it looks like all his research is like he keeps with him at all times.
Smart.
And just kind of like vomits it onto whatever table he's working on.
Yeah.
And you guys begin to walk around Turlin, heading down to where the river is, or where the docks are. Says, if you're wanting to go back to the wastes, it's getting a little spicier down there. And these eggheads the old woman was talking about, those are probably the ones that took the research and took your circlet, as you mentioned. I don't think they want your expertise. I think they want, not your expertise down in the wastes, but your expertise in and of itself. There's been some researchers gone missing recently. Ones that had studied the elves of Galandior, ones that have studied the mages from before.
We met one of those. Old crazy scientist guy.
Old Tiernan.
Yeah, I think, yeah. He's got like gun turrets on his place and stuff.
Yes, he was working down in the wastes. He worked here for a time. His lab is in shambles in town.
Oh, no.
He actually has been named a traitor and been accosted with accounts of treason.
What? He seems so awesome.
Apparently, he was spouting lies of the attack down at the outpost. Not widely known, but I was able to peek at a couple of reports. He says that dragons and elves did not attack the outpost, but others. And if that were the case, the treaty was never in violation, and this war that started in Usama was all fake.
Ooh. But what if he's right?
As far as everyone knows, he's not. Which is hard to believe, because all the stories from the others are clear. I've been reading up about some of the things coming out of the outpost, and it seems that he was the only one telling this story.
Yeah,
but with others going missing, I'm a bit on my toes about things. If you're serious about going to the wastes, I would love to get out of Usama for a bit.
Yeah, well, look, I gotta go. I think I'm supposed to go talk to those, because like all that research I was given on, like they came in and they took it. So I want to go talk to those folks to see what's going on with what they're doing. Because I think the old lady just told me basically they would want me to kind of like head up something out there, or I don't know. I was kind of zoning in and out, but
that's a ruse. They want to, I assume, do what they've done to the other researchers.
Oh, they want to kidnap me.
Yes, like I said, there's been about a dozen that have gone missing.
It's all coming into focus now.
the most recent information about the wastes, they had bits and pieces. I deal with things not associated with that, so they haven't come for me. But I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Seems anyone that has information about what goes on down there in any arcane capacity has been plucked.
Well, then maybe the best thing is for me to go back to the monastery. Monastery of the Silver Song, ever heard of it?
I've heard some, yes. They train agents of the shadow.
That's me!
Oh,
I'm the Ghostwise Halfling Shadow Monk of the Age.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you're like the only person in like forever that is like had any sort of joy about that. That's so nice. It's nice to be recognized and seen.
Oh, well, it's an interesting place. I haven't read much about it, but the Academy knows of it. Apparently we are associated with them in some way.
Yeah, I'm sure. But, I'm going there to see my masters and like kind of I've kind of been on like a walkabout, like a train by learning type of thing this last, year and plus months. So I don't know. If you want to go there, no one's going to hurt you there. And then we've got libraries and stuff like that too. You could do some research and we could maybe form a game plan on how we can figure out this whole thing. I really want to figure out what Aether does. Like I've got this liquid. It's so crazy. And oh gosh, here I go telling everybody my whole life story this again. But I don't know. You seem all right. And I don't know. Everyone else screwed me over. So we could just add you to the list if you screwed me over. And like I kind of like,
you don't screw me over. I don't have any intention of doing the same to you.
Perfect. So I like pull out my little flask or whatever with whatever's left because from my microdosing. I go like, this is the stuff. And what's crazy about this stuff is that like I've seen them put it like on robots and like the robots come alive. It's like one of my guys, Mr. Ball, he dumped like a half of a jug on this tall, like 30-foot tall robot that wasn't working, and it just came alive like out in the middle of the desert. It's a crazy liquid, and I want to research it and bring it to like our scientists and that sort of stuff at our monk's lab or whatever. But have you ever seen this stuff? Anyway, sorry, I talk a lot.
It's fine. No, I haven't seen that. I've heard some rumors of something similar that people are wanting from the wastes. I imagine that's it.
It rained it. It was really weird. We were out in the middle of the desert, and we just like defeated. We just got into like one of the mage towers that are out there, and like inside we found like this soul stuck in water, which is really crazy. And then, but like we got outside and it like rained this stuff. It was super weird.
Wild.
Yeah.
I would love to see things like that. That sounds mystical and magical and brand new, like no one knows anything about it. Yes, no, I will accompany you. Let me research as I can.
Yeah, I'll totally get you set up at the monastery. You can have a room, you can have a research den, we've got a library, we'll make sure you got your guest pass and everything. Like my parents kind of helped build it, so like, I kind of have carte blanche there.
I see. Well,
there's one more guy I got to say goodbye to before we leave town, though.
Oh, of course.
And I go to the transportation circle thing, and I look for that bozo in the hedges, like if he's like creeping around.
Yeah, as you kind of head up to the teleportation circle, it's coming on a little hill, this L-shaped building.
Mm-hmm.
You see in the distance as you're approaching, clipping away at some of the bushes, is the gardener.
I'm going to try to find like a shadow, since I can't teleport obviously to that the circle thing or whatever in town. I'm going to try to do it with like hopping out of shadows and like do like my Van Damme kick out of the shadows and like land next to him, or at least like within his eye line or whatever, 5 feet and sort of surrounding area.
Yeah, as you kind of head up there, Glazo stays behind. And there's enough like trees around here that casts enough shadow that you can kind of hop from one to the other, sticking in shadow, staying behind things. You get to this little L-shaped nook where the gardener is, where the bushes are, and the teleportation circle in the middle there. And as you kind of do your final jump to right behind him, as he's like clipping these bushes, you appear from shadow with clippers right next to your neck.
Whoa!
Sorry, it's not nice to sneak up on old men clipping bushes.
That was awesome. I was just gonna give you like a final Van Damme kick goodbye, Van Damme landing. I'm taking off, so I don't know when I'll be back, or if no offense, if you'll be alive. So like next time I come through.
Oh, don't worry about that. I've got a few years left in me. So let's see it. Let's see the kick.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna hop back in the shadow and then like hop back out, so like you get full effect.
All right,
here we go. And like I'll just like pop back in and then pop back out, and I'll do the 360 kick, and then hopefully land like superhero knee or whatever.
Okay, yeah. You kind of hop back. You do your acrobatics in the air, and right before you land, you feel this odd bit of force just kind of turn you upside down, and you start floating upwards about 60 feet as gravity is reversed where that teleportation circle is, and you fly up about 60 feet, and you see the old gardener down there just kind of laughing to himself and giggling, and then he waves his hands, and you get the sensation of slow falling back down.
Oh man, that's cool.
And you just daintily just touch down in the pose, and he just starts clapping. Fantastic. Oh, that was, I'm sure, the best one possible. You flew quite a ways up there.
Got a lot of secrets, old man. I like your style. Fist bump. Cool.
Puts out a fist.
Well, you keep guarding and watching the teleportation circle, and hopefully I'll see you again sometime.
He gives you a nod, and
if you ever need to get hold of me, Riferian Night Meadow, Ghostwise Halfling of the Age, Shadow Monk of the Silver Song.
Shadow Monk of the Silver Song, yes.
Oh, yeah, you remember. Okay, well, bye. And then I won't hop into a shadow. I'll just, out of respect, I'll turn around and, like, walk away as I sort of fix my gi from the gravity and my Omen's mantle cloak or whatever, and I'll go back to the dwarf. I'm just chuckling. I'm like, that guy's so cool. Like, no one knows. Like, that guy would probably mess so many people up.
Says, yeah, absolutely he would.
Oh, you know who he is?
Yes, he's one of the old headmasters of the arcane school.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's doing this. This is his retirement, apparently.
Oh man, I wonder if he would know what Aether is. I should have asked him.
He's probably the most powerful wizard in Usama.
That's hilarious. Oh man.
Yeah. He's not usually very friendly.
Oh, he and I get along good, I thought.
Huh. Interesting. And Glazo just gives him like a long like stare as you guys head off. He's just surprised that this old, he knows a bit about this old man that most people don't. Seems that Glazo likes to know all of the little secrets about what's going on.
Yeah.
So you head out of Turlin.
Yep.
All right. And you're wanting to go to the monastery?
Yeah, I figure we'd go there since like Glazo doesn't seem to think that he seems to think we'll go MIA if we report. So I figure I'm due back, at the monastery for a check-in, and it's been over a year and I've learned a lot, and I should log my adventures and talk to my masters and then eventually see my parents. Excuse me.
Yeah.
All the while always keeping an eye open for a flying carpet.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the way you best know how to get back there is going to be to charter a ship from where you did before. Timber Ridge is where you kind of entered in from, and so you head down south to where the wastes are and where Timber Ridge is. How do you get down there? Keeping out of sight, I assume, of most people, but the guards and soldiers of Usama, more importantly.
Well, I mean, I'd want to travel at night, and I would probably sort of like do the thing where if there's the main road, I'd be like off to the side more, like out in the brush, like following it from 30, 40 feet off into the, it might take us longer, but like kind of staying in the tree line a little bit if that's available, or just traveling by night, so it's easier for me to sort of navigate and that sort of thing. And
okay.
And then also like if there's any sort of carriages or taxis, if you whatever, Usama taxis, that sort of thing. Like Riv has money, like she's saved up like almost like 1,000 gold pieces at this point.
Yeah, I mean you can easily charter a carriage to take you down south.
Yeah, I mean I would figure that if that's the easiest thing, then like walking. I would assume we would walk for a bit, and then he would be like, maybe we should just take a. I'm like, oh right, no, sure, totally. I didn't think of that.
This is how it goes. You get a carriage chartered by, some gruff old man. He takes you and Glazo, and hidden on the top of the carriage, that Kenku as well, down south. Takes you.
And I'll do the same thing when we were out in the waste. Like I'll do a, what was it, pass without trace or something like that, where like it makes our carriage disappear type of thing.
Yeah, you don't leave footprints, and it's easier to remain stealth. Using the carriage, you're on the roadway. The stealth mainly is that you're a simple carriage. Most people don't pay attention. There's no reason to stop you for any inspections or anything. But you head down about a day's travel before hitting the outpost to the wastes. Since you're trying to stay kind of under the radar, you get dropped off here, and Glazo helps you plot a path through the forests and kind of over one of the small mountains, one of the larger hills that leads into the desert, leads into the wastes. And so, you take the carriage down and then spend your nights kind of traveling over this a few days to get into the waste proper, bypassing the checkpoint you would have to go through taking the road. Glazo has got a bit of trickery about him. He's able to cast Pass Without a Trace as well. He keeps himself hidden, but he slows you down a bit. He's not as quick moving through this terrain, seeing as he carries the entirety of his library with him.
A freaking U-Haul inside of his backpack, basically.
Yeah. You get into the first kind of bit of scraggly plains, and make camp when you kind of enter into the desert. You find a rock and are able to construct a little sleeping area there, with the Kenku watching above as you sleep in the wastes for this kind of first night once you've gotten here proper.
And I'm pretty sure Riff has alarm, so like I'd cast that like on our perimeter and that sort of stuff.
Sure, easy enough. And having this watchful, one-eyed Kenku and the alarm set up, in the middle of the night, maybe 3-4 o'clock, you get awoken by a blast from the Kenku's eye and your alarm going off. You kind of jump up, Glazo, unperturbed by this, snoring away. You jump up, and about 30 feet from where your camp is, you see this dark cloak figure about your height, maybe a little taller, with like two blades in their hands, just glaring from underneath their hood as you see like a blast mark from the Kenku next to them. He says, and he just goes, I know you still have my journal, and I need it.
Who are you?
That doesn't matter. I've spent so long without that journal, and I need it. And he begins to start making like a couple of footsteps towards you, getting about 5 feet before the Kenku blasts again, and he stops.
Oh, I remember you. You're that guy that ran off, and they like, right? You ran away from the robot?
I've been running for a long time.
Oh, what's up, man? I don't even have the journal.
Lies.
Okay.
Absolute lies. Show me what you have. I know my journal is with you.
No, not gonna do that. But I'll tell you what. I'll give you. Oh. And she's like slowly like getting both of her chucks in her hands or whatever. She's just like casually talking, and she's bringing them out. She's like, I'm gonna give you one last chance to head on down the road or the hill or wherever you came from, because I don't want to hurt you.
I don't know where I came from. I don't know where to go. I only know the journal and where it's leading me.
Where is it leading you?
To her. To the secrets.
To a secret? Who's that?
Yes. What?
Who? What? Never even heard of that. Huh.
You've never heard of secrets? The things other people don't know.
Oh, I thought you said a secrets. I thought it was a name that you were saying. Sorry, you're kind of mumbling, and there's like that desert wind going.
Yeah, sure. Kind of pulls down the mask he has, and you see just this skeleton face. He pulls down his hood.
Oh yeah, I remember you. What's up? Good to see you again.
Right.
Well, I can't give you the journal because I'm kind of studying the journal. So
if you are studying the journal, can I at least study it with you? It has secrets in there that have been ripped from me. I don't know them unless I have that.
At this point, I would imagine that Riff has had the journal for a long time, and I've been copying it and all that sort of stuff. Like, would I have copied the entirety of it at this point? Like, am I just looking at my notes and not that journal anymore?
Yeah. So if you remember, the journal that you took from this creature was very similar to the notes that you had from your uncle, almost the same.
Right.
And so yeah, the notes you had, you already have. The added things that were from his notes, you've copied a number of times. You've copied into your cipher. You have, backups of this for sure.
Well, you know what? I like your attitude. Taps the bag, comes around front, looks inside, finds the journal, taps it. I go, what's interesting? Well, hold on, and I'll give it to you. What's interesting is that you're not the only one looking for this type of stuff. My uncle was looking for almost exactly this because I have his journal, and you guys, the Venn diagram of what you guys are looking at, crazy stuff. And I'm researching it too. So I'm not saying we should team up, but I've gone through it. You've got some really interesting stuff in here. It interests me, and she's going to chuck it to him. There's your journal back.
Scrambles to catch it and just starts kind of like flipping through these loose assortments of pages.
I took care of it. I didn't harm it. I didn't do anything to it. I just read it, took notes on it, what I thought was interesting, and cross-referenced them with my uncle's notes. As a matter of fact, and I'd like to give him like a useful piece of information from like my uncle's thing, like maybe some sort of idea or something with like some sort of epiphany. I was like, you were talking about this thing, and my uncle's talking, but I thought, what if it was this thing type of idea?
Yeah, you mention there's reference to an old stone temple somewhere in the wastes, and the way it's written, you've kind of cross-referenced some things, and it's not like in the wastes as a place. It is deep within the wastes. It's underground. It's kind of the translation that you found, and you let them know that it's not You're not looking for a place that's above the sands. You're looking for something deep below the sands.
I mean,
He says,
that's at least what I think. What do you think about that?
"Oh, that makes a lot of sense." And you see, like, they've got this kind of little burning, fire in their eye sockets for eyes, and that burning kind of like settles down a bit. It's not as chaotic. And as they kind of finish looking through the notes, they close them, stuff them in their jacket, and say, thank you for returning this.
Sure.
Deep below I have been searching this place for years, trying to find it. I think I've seen every building in the wastes, even the ones the mages don't want you to see, or didn't want you to see.
Oh,
Sorry,
wow.
I get a bit confused when I don't have those notes. That's the only thing that will jog my memory. Otherwise,
Yeah, you get creepy and sneak up on people when they're sleeping?
yeah, you could say that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
hungry? Do you eat? I mean, sorry if that's a weird thing.
No, not really.
All right. Just trying to be
yeah.
helpful.
No, I appreciate it. So if it's deep within the sands,
Mm-hmm.
I think I know. I've been to the same spot at least 20 times, thinking that's where it's supposed to be. I've been there when it's the solstice. I've been there at high noon. I've been there when the moon is full, when the moon is not full.
So
And
maybe
I
we're
thought
just
it might appear there,
not seeing the secret passage button.
but
type
if
of
it's
thing?
deep within the ground, then I'm looking in the wrong spot. I just have to go deeper.
Right, but yeah, I mean, maybe there's like a doorway or something that you're just not seeing, since you were looking for a structure that goes up rather than just like a weird little rock formation that moves that you can like go down into.
Possibly, yes. I have to try it again. Then I have to go there again.
Well, let's go.
You'll come with?
I mean, my family's been looking for this for a while. I think it'd be cool if I could take it back to the monastery and be like, "Found it, sillies."
Okay. Yes. Let's go. It's good to have companions. It's not as dangerous most of the time. I can keep this journal. Yes.
Well, it's yours,
You're not
sure.
going to take it away from me again.
It's yours. Keep it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
And you, I don't know if you bed down for the rest of the night, but you take the rest of the night and head out the next morning into the wastes.
Mhm.
It takes you probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks of travel to get to this spot that this little skeleton guy is leading you to, and it's close to some of the mountains, probably about a week's travel north of the Tower of Chaos. And it's just this deep, kind of shallow pit that leads down to a center where there's a number of rocks kind of stacked that have fallen down into it. And you're kind of sitting on the edge there as he says, From all the notes that I have, it should be here. I thought maybe it does mention the light being a part of how it reveals itself. I've never been able to find the right circumstances, the right bits, the right time of year, the right time of day. I don't know. Maybe you know more. I've lost a bit of my mind on this excursion and this quest. But if I find the end of it, then I will hopefully get whatever secrets have been lost to me back.
Okay. Well, gosh. I guess Rif would try to, like, maybe if there's any shadows, like, pop into a shadow around there and see if, like, she can feel anything out. type of vibe, or if like she could use like her quote unquote, like I think she had like a shadow sight type of thing, like the thing like with the mages back in the like in the prison type of vibe. Like she wants to kind of like do riff radar, I guess. I don't know, like shadow radar.
Yeah, no, you if you can, stay in a spot and meditate for a bit, you can start to see beyond the plane that you're in and the planes next to you. You take the afternoon and are just kind of like getting a sense for this place, and it seems a bit devoid, like nothing is quite on the other side. It frustrates you a bit as you're doing it, because it does seem odd that there should be something that you see. You do it near where the rocks are, and you get a kind of sense for it. That's about where the only shadows are, is underneath those rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, you've got your little bit of aether with you, and you do your little microdose of it, and you do that on top of these rocks. And as you do, you are able to finally look past the plane that you're on, and you begin to see into the ethereal plane and the shadow plane, and you see these upturned tree roots that are growing up into the sky.
Oh, wow.
And they come down to where you are on these rocks, and they go down into the sand. And kind of as you see them, they begin to kind of twitch a little bit and move, kind of by your presence.
Guys, I'm freaking
by the
out.
fact that they're seen. And the rocks shift a bit and kind of fall down into the sand, and slowly this large divot in the sand that begins to kind of swirl as Glazo and this little skeleton man and the Kenku all kind of start to get sucked into the sand a bit, as it kind of whirlpools down and the rocks fall down below, and you get caught in it, and darkness envelops you as the sand gets just eats you.
That's awesome.
And you keep your mouth shut so you don't breathe in this, and by the time that you think that you have to like take in a breath, you're deposited into darkness as you land onto soft sand.
Ooh.
And it just begins to kind of flow away. The sand disappears, and you're left with this stony floor on the bottom.
Well, I think I found it.
You get your senses. You look around. You see your companions. Seems they've dropped down here as well, and you're in a massive stone cavern, however deep below the sands. And the little skeleton guy's like looking around, looking at his notes, kind of cracks open a torch, lights it up, and lights up the room. And you see the edges of this cavern are carved into the shape of branches and like leaves that are just coming down and enveloping. And you see like bits of fruit, like apples, but like massive in here on carved on the stone walls. And one end of the room, you see where all these kind of branches meet up and come up to this statue of a massive tree person. I don't know if you've seen tree ents before, but that's this kind of tall, wide, humanoid-looking tree that the branches come up to, with a face, eyes shut, and their hair is just more branches that go up out of the cave, this cavern.
Yeah, I mean, I've read about him. Rif's read about him, but her first instinct and memory is that sort of spirit in the tree, like where the Kenku was or whatever, that sort of like darker spirit that came out of the tree or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, that's like nothing like that. Like, that's just like the first thing that pops into her brain. But she's going to look at it and she's going to like, kind of like, that's a big old tree person.
It's her. It's who I've been looking for.
The tree person?
Oh, yes.
Huh.
It's the Cincinnati.
Oh.
Cincinnati. She kind of yells out to the figure, and you see the stone eyes just kind of creak open, and you see eyes just frozen, looking down.
Riff's gonna put her hands by her side and bow her head, one, because she's 2'10", and this thing seems it's 100 feet tall or something or more.
I'd say about 20-30 feet tall.
Okay, so it's she definitely to Riff it's 100 feet tall.
Oh,
she's,
yeah.
She's what in the, and so she's just kind of gonna bow her head or whatever in out of respect, before and let it make the first move because she's not trying to get squashed.
Yeah, the little skeleton guy starts going through their notes and says, right. We need to tell her the secret. The secret.
Oh, right.
And just frantically going through the notes. I don't remember.
Would Riff know it from all of her notes and that sort of stuff?
You begin going through the notes that you have. And
right.
In this cavern here, you kind of are placing them on the floor, going through what the skeleton's going through, and you know that you've been researching temples, trying to find a certain temple. It looks like this is the one, and from your research, what you found that this is a temple to. Initially, what you thought was Torog, the god of torture and brutality and secrets. The thing that's never sat well with you during this research is that secrets are not what Torog should be the god of. It's never secrets that are told to him. It's lies. It's fabrications. It's things that you get out of torture that aren't of any meaning. And so what you put together is that the temple you're searching for is not to Torog, but to something else. And that temple is to the true god of secrets.
The tree lady.
The tree lady. The Cincinnati, as the skeleton calls her.
Yeah.
And so the secret that must be said is what she is. That she is the god of secret.
And then I'm like, wait. Meta with me here for a second.
What? Yes, of course.
It's so stupid. And so this is classic. My guys at my monastery used to do this sort of crud all the time. So she's a Cincinnati, right? And she's the god of secrets. Yes. So what if that's the secret? That's the riddle.
And you start to hear some rock on rock movement as you say that she is the god of secrets.
Well,
that's the secret that she had forgotten. That's the secret that the skeleton had forgotten. And slowly the stone relief comes forward. A large branchy tree breaks off of the stone and steps onto the floor. As it does, you see a bit of warmth come up it as the stone is turned back into bark. And the other leg comes forward and steps on the stone, and it does the same. And slowly the stone falls away in these chips and sheets. And it's replaced by this earthy green and brown wooded creature standing 20 feet, 25 feet tall.
Whoa.
As she leans down to face you, her head, her face, looking at the two of you.
And I'll bow again, just kind of and sort of wait for a reaction, just because, I don't think I've ever been in front of a deity, so.
And she looks down and says, "Thank you. I had forgotten for some time what my place in this world is. How did they take my own secret from me? I am the god of secrets. Long ago, and today, this is true. Thank you for reminding me, Riferian Night Meadow. And you, Picus of the Night Meadow. And you see the little skeleton looks up and is just awash with surprise. I had told you long ago what my secret was in safekeeping. It's taken you long enough to find me. And Picus just kind of looks down and says, it's been difficult. They kept me away. I am sorry. She looks down. That is fine. All things work out in time. And she kind of leans down and kisses him gently on the head with her massive lips. And you see the flesh return to his body.
Awesome.
And kind of looks up and looks over to you, and you see your uncle.
Whoa!
It's a little halfling old man. Looks just like how you remember him from from when you'd seen him in the pictures that had been painted of him. And blinks his eyes a bit, and you see this rush of realization kind of come to him. Oh, hi. Oh, this has been a long time in the making.
What's up, Uncle? That's so cool. We got to have this adventure together.
Hey, yeah, I'm sorry. To have to put you through this. Thank you.
You know what's rad,
so
though?
Much.
We get to go back and tell everybody that you're not crazy and that you weren't wrong. And yeah, maybe we just saved the world or something like that too, but this is way cooler.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little wrong on some things. You were the Ghostwise halfling to be trained. I never was.
Well,
You're the one that can see all this stuff. I just went out and got into trouble.
But if it weren't for your journal, which I've had him in copying, and then weirdly enough, when Skeletal You was like asking, and the Venn diagram of like those journals coming together, it was so weird. I don't put things together. Not so smart. Love my chucks, but
those are good chucks.
Yeah, but it was.
I tried when I was there. I tried to use those. I think I hit myself every time I used them.
Oh man!
Like how do you swing that thing and hit something and have it not come back and hit you in the face? I never figured that out.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't like these other ones. I show him the one with the blades on the end. I'm like, these ones would definitely not be good for you then.
I might cut my head off with those. Jeez Louise.
You just got your skin back. You don't want to do that, Uncle.
No. Oh, man.
That's so cool. Like, hey, God of Secrets, Miss Sense and I.
Yes.
So let me put some pieces together here. So like when they like took your secret from you and like trap you down here in rock and that sort of crap, I'm assuming it's probably the mages doing some sort of thing. And then is that why the desert like became a desert because you were locked up type of thing, and like, or like what's was that you that made it rain aether when I was here with my pals at the Mage's Tower?
No.
Oh, man, so many cool things. All right.
You are right. The mages kept me away. They stole my secret from me. That I am the god of secrets, the Cincinnati. Because I know the secrets of Aether.
Oh, cool.
It is the power of life. It is the energy you get when things live. The biggest secret, though, is you cannot control it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
If you try to control life, you upset the natural order, and it all will come back at you. The mages tried to keep that secret away from everyone by keeping me away from everyone. I assume they did control the Aether for a while, but eventually it came back at them. I can feel them out there. Partially, I will have to deal with them soon.
That sounds like.
But whatever
stuff.
happens above, Aether will return. And if the people do not find balance within it, they try to control it again, the story of the mages will be played once more.
I think if I know people, it's probably going to be the second one. But I will.
It's happened a number of times since before the mages. The cycle repeating.
I'll do my part, knowing what this stuff is and like knowing how it works and that sort of. I mean, because I've been like sipping on it and meditating, trying to figure it out. But now that I know that, like, you know, I'm going to go back to my monastery, and it's going to be something that I want to bring up to become part of our teachings, become part of the way of life, and you know that'll just be a new thing to add to my, I don't know, meditation, my routine, my way of thinking about how I manipulate the shadows and everything else.
If you can fold in the power of Aether into your magics, into your life, and keep it balanced with the life around you, then I'm sure it will bring good tidings for you. Just never force it to do what you want and what it does not want. Because a tree wants to grow and see the sun and bear fruit. But a tree does not want to conquer the world.
That's awesome.
So, my young halflings, what can I do for you? You've saved me, and as any good god should do, that deserves a favor.
Weird question, but I think I could probably, like, I don't know. You got any extra you're willing to shed for some sweet chucks and a new bow staff I can make myself? I mean,
yes, I believe so. And she kind of turns back at the stone relief, and you see parts of the branches and trees that are there that are still stone flake away and drop, and a large branch falls down.
Awesome. I'm going to make such a cool pair of chucks and a sweet bow staff. I'm actually, what this one's going to be is going to be a little bit more like Daredevil inspired, in which like it's a bow staff, but it's like you kind of click it and then it can be chucked. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 deal. So it's like she can carry the bow staff, but it's like, but then it can, you know, be chucks if necessary.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. Like, I honestly, like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing out on something. I am only 12 years old, but I don't know.
A whole
this seems
life
like
ahead of you then.
This seems pretty cool. And then I figure, you know, we'll probably cross paths again if I keep teaching your stuff. And as always, you know, like if you ever want to come hang out, Shadow, at the Silver Song Monastery, you know, your treeness is always welcome. We've got really cool sunlight there.
She gives you a big smile, kind of chuckles as a large tree deity can. Says, so then, you're headed to the Silver Song Monastery?
Yeah, I've spent my sort of last year and a half abroad, and I got to let them know what's going on. And I mean, gosh, I was trying to figure it out, and then like all of these bureaucrat bozos, like they're like, oh, let's lock away all these people that are like probably coming upon like the secret of what this whole thing is that we just discovered, and now I got to go tell everybody and hopefully get those people out of jail and get those people thrown out. Like, oh, there's so much for a 12-year-old to do. I swear, my work is never done. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure that those bureaucrats will find nothing out here that they're truly wanting to find. But do you want to know a secret, young halfling?
Oh, that's awesome. I love secrets.
You're already at the Silver Song Monastery. And as she finishes saying that, shadows kind of envelop where you are. And you're standing now in front of the gates of the monastery at dusk when it's just becoming visible. And you and Picus, your uncle, Glazo, and the Kenku are all there at the gates waiting to enter.
I just kind of like look around looking for the tree.
She's gone.
Oh, that is so awesome! And Rif is just elated. She's like talking about jumping out of shadows. That's amazing. Man, that old tree can really do it. I got a thing or two to learn about her.
Mm-hmm. And so as you and your newfound crew enter into the monastery, you begin to talk about the research you're going to do with Aether. You bring it to the people there, the instructors, the ones you've known.
And it's totally changed now, because now I figure it is more like a life. Whereas before I was like, I want to, based off of my uncle's journal and stuff like that, I was always sort of like under the impression that, Aether was this like this medicine, this thing that you would drink and it would do, rather than it being like a oneness almost with the universe type of thing.
And so as you are here doing your research, going over what Picus knows, what Glazo can bring to you, what the professors know here, and you end up finding some of the inner workings of the monastery, and you find the connections to the mechanics of it and how it is made from Aether technology, how it is powered by the life around the monastery itself. And it was your family centuries ago that were the crafters of this metalworking and this connection to Aether and life and balance that was able to produce the effects of the monastery as it bends in and out of shadow. That's because of the life around it and the balance that the monastery keeps with the forest that it surrounds.
That's so neat.
And from there, you go on to wide and wild adventurers, not as a student any longer, but as somebody that has gone out on their walkabout and brought back something great, something that they can teach the rest of the people at the monastery. You stop becoming that student and start becoming one of the instructors. Not so much at this point in position, but in class. You speak with your professors in that same tone as you would speak with others that share your vision.
And Rif definitely is going to like having that interaction with the sense, and I like. She doesn't want to do the vampire thing anymore. She really thought that's what she wanted to do, and now she wants to become like this. Also, because she likes the hedge guy, and she kind of like imagines that like, yeah, he's a very powerful, but like, I don't know, maybe that guy was a druid, and that's why he likes plants and stuff so much. But she wants to become like, she wants to kind of like cross druid class with her monkness, and like, before it was like sort of a necromancy path that she was taking, and she wants to take more of a druidic path and be able to like still pop in and out of shadows, because she is a shadow monk or whatever, but like what that means with nature, with the forest and with the surrounding areas, and knowing that the monastery is what it is. She figures that's the best way to be one with the tree and the Aether and life around her, but while still having fun and being a little creep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You discover these old forgotten things about Aether that the mages kind of locked away. And with this knowledge of who the Cincinnati is that most people don't know, you're able to more easily uncover secrets than others are able to. I'm sure many fun adventures await Riff, but that is where we will leave it for Riff's story now. Thank you guys for joining us around our proverbial podcast table. I've been your DM, Alex, and with me has been
Bentley Michaels is Rifferian Night Meadow.
Grab your swords and keep on adventuring.
Follow us across all platforms with Chaotic Amateurs. Please subscribe, rate, and review our show on your podcast app of choice to help us climb the charts and find new adventurers. Or become a patron on Patreon to help our heroes continue their quest. Thank you for listening to Chaotic Amateurs.